Breaking news just in. We have the letter just sent from Sean Diddy Combs to the judge that will sentence him tomorrow. Combs saying he's sorry and asking to be released and sent home to his family, describing how being locked up has changed him forever. We'll show you the letter just sent to the judge. Also tonight, the deadly terror attack at a synagogue. 2 people killed and more hurt after a man rammed his car into a crowd, then started stabbing people. The brutal ambush happening at a British synagogue on Yom Kippur as tensions over anti-Semitic attacks are on the rise. Also breaking tonight, the White House on offense after blowing up boats from Venezuela, the Trump administration declaring the U.S. is engaged in a formal armed conflict with drug cartels. Shut down deadlock, the president poised to take the historic step of laying off federal workers. My interview with the top Republican in the Senate, what he said about the urgent negotiations. A commuter bus bursting into flames, the massive fireball closing roads. 2 Delta jets colliding on the ground at one of the country's busiest airports. One plane's wing smashing into the nose of the other. The investigation into what went wrong. The Eiffel Tower shut down. A Tesla dealership trashed as fiery protests spread across France. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas.
And good evening. As we come on the air tonight, we do have some breaking news. On the eve of his sentencing, Sean Diddy Combs, the fallen music mogul, writing a federal judge pleading for mercy. He writes in part, "I have to admit, my downfall was rooted in my selfishness." He apologized to 2 of the women who accused him of abuse, including Cassie Ventura, who he assaulted. This as prosecutors are asking for an 11-year prison sentence for Combs after he was found guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Laura Jarrett joins us now live in studio. Laura, you have the letter right there, and he makes it very clear he's asking the judge to be let go to his family right now.
Tom, it's a pretty striking letter. Combs, in his own words, saying he realizes he's in a situation where no amount of money or fame can save him. He writes this: "I have been humbled and broken to my core. Jail is designed to break you. There have been some days I thought I would be better off dead." He goes on to say, Tom, that he lost everything from his businesses to time with his children. He's a single father. He also apologizes, notably, to the women who prosecutors say he abused. He says that video, that infamous video of him abusing Cassie, plays over in his head daily. "I literally lost my mind." He says he's a changed man. He says he's sober for the first time in 25 years. He will have an opportunity to address the court there tomorrow. Remember, of course, his lawyers are asking for just 14 months. Prosecutors asking for far greater, 11 years behind bars. He was acquitted of the charges, though, of course, that could have kept him behind bars for the rest of his lifetime.
And that sentencing tomorrow, we will be covering it live right here on NBC. All right, Laura, we thank you. We're also following breaking news overseas, a terror attack in Manchester, England, at a synagogue on Judaism's holiest day. A man ramming his car into the crowd, then attacking with a knife. Tonight, 2 worshipers are dead. Raf Sanchez is there for us.
Everybody else, go away.
A scene of terror at a synagogue. Police confronting the attacker. They've shot him, but he's still alive, and they fear he has a bomb.
Man, he's got a bomb on his jacket, mate.
When he tries to get up, officers open fire. The violence shattering the reflective calm of Yom Kippur, Judaism's holiest day.
A vile individual committed a terrorist attack that attacked Jews because they are Jews.
Police say 2 men from Manchester's Jewish community were killed, 3 others seriously injured. And tonight saying they believe the attacker was Jihad al-Shami, a 35-year-old British citizen of Syrian descent.
This is as close as police will let us go, but they say the attacker arrived at the synagogue at the end of this street at around 9:31 a.m., first ramming his car into worshippers and then jumping out, attacking them with a bladed weapon.
I heard bang, bang, and then we heard the helicopters, we heard the siren.
Locals say it was mainly children and elderly people inside the synagogue during the attack. Police praising the community, including the rabbi, for blocking the doors and keeping the killer out. Deploying a robot to search his body for bombs, finding none.
He was wearing about his body a vest which had the appearance of an explosive device.
King Charles saying he is deeply shocked and saddened, especially on such a significant day for the Jewish community. Josh Simons is a member of Parliament and part of that community.
I think everybody in this community will be holding their children tonight that little bit closer.
And how is this community feeling tonight?
frightened, scared, hurt.
There's been a surge of anti-Semitic violence in both Europe and the U.S. since the start of the Gaza war, including this firebombing attack in Colorado in June, which killed an 82-year-old woman. And tonight, synagogues across the U.S. on high alert after Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, turned into another day of tragedy.
Raf joins us now live from that scene. And Raf, police say they've arrested 3 other people in connection with that attack.
That's right, Tom. 2 men in their 30s, 1 woman in her 60s, all arrested here in Manchester on suspicion of preparing an act of terrorism. And when I spoke to another member of Parliament earlier, he said police are still investigating whether this was a so-called lone wolf attacker or part of a larger organization. Tom.
The rain coming down there as this investigation continues. All right, Raf, thank you. Now to another developing story. President Trump tonight saying the U.S. is at war with drug cartels. That coming in a new notification from the Trump administration to Congress. Courtney Kuby joins us now. Courtney, I know you have some new reporting for our viewers on what this all means.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. NBC News obtained the confidential notice the Trump administration sent to Congress identifying drug cartels as terrorist organizations, declaring their actions constitute an armed attack against the United States. Essentially, as you said, saying the U.S. is at war with them. It comes after those deadly U.S. military strikes on boats near Venezuela that the U.S. says were carrying drugs and cartel members. Though key Democratic Senator Jack Reed saying there's no credible legal justification for the U.S. actions. Meanwhile, Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro has ordered militias to get ready. Tonight, a White House spokesperson tells us President Trump acted legally to, quote, protect our country from those trying to bring deadly poisons to our shores. Tom?
All right, Courtney, we thank you for that. Now to day 2 of the federal government shutdown, with President Trump saying his administration is preparing to lay off federal workers. Plus, our new interview tonight with 2 key players on both sides about what comes next. Here's Ryan Nobles.
Tonight, only 2 days in, the impacts of the partial federal government shutdown starting to grow, including tourists turned away from Philadelphia's iconic Liberty Bell.
I'm only here for 1 day, so I mean, who knows how long it'll last.
No new votes in the Senate on this holiday after Democrats earlier blocked a Republican funding bill that would reopen the government.
Welcome, everybody, to day 2 of the Democrat shutdown.
Tonight, key Democrat, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, responding.
We're fighting to make sure that people's health care premiums can remain low as possible.
Pushing back on GOP demands.
And so when they say, then let's just get the government back open and negotiate for 7 weeks, why don't you buy that argument?
Because they don't. We've seen this happen over and over again. And every time this administration says something, they go back on their word. We have to just end this right now.
Tonight, Tom speaking to Senate Republican leader John Thune.
When are you going to get in a room with Senator Chuck Schumer and the Democrats and sort this out?
Well, I mean, I think that, I don't know, there's a lot to sort out, Tom. I think right now it's a pretty straightforward proposition. You know, we've got a bill sitting at the desk in the Senate that's been passed by the House of Representatives that the president is prepared to sign to open up the government. They want to talk about other issues. Those other issues, I'm more than happy to have that conversation, but I don't think you can keep this hostage. As soon as they release the hostage, then we can talk about those other issues.
All as President Trump plans to meet with Budget Director Russ Vought today over potential firings of federal workers.
Look, it's likely going to be in the thousands.
While thousands of federal workers like Jenna Horton have been furloughed. Horton told us she can only check her government email to see if she's been laid off.
We can sign on to find out if we got fired, or we can sign on to complete retirement paperwork.
The Senate will have a vote tomorrow, but they are planning no votes over the weekend, meaning the shutdown is expected to extend into next week. Tom?
Ryan Nobles covering this for us from Capitol Hill. Ryan, thank you. 2 Delta Airlines jets colliding in New York on the tarmac as one was taxiing for takeoff. Our Sam Brock tonight with the latest on the investigation now underway to figure out what went wrong.
Confusion and chaos unfolding on LaGuardia's tarmac.
Their right wing clipped our nose in the cockpit.
After 2 Delta regional jets collided just before 10 p.m. Wednesday at one of the nation's busiest airports. Flight 5155 taxiing for takeoff and headed for Roanoke when Delta says its wing struck the fuselage of Flight 5047, arriving from Charlotte and moving toward its gate. The impact leaving the nose and windscreen of one plane smashed and a portion of the wing on the other sheared off. Many passengers shocked.
As we're taxiing, the pilot slams on the brakes,
and look out the window and you see another plane coming the other way.
Tonight, the FAA and NTSB are both investigating this unsettling scene. The FAA saying air traffic control instructed Flight 5155 to hold short and yield to the other aircraft.
This is the worst I've seen with a slow-speed taxi collision. Typically, when you see these taxiway incursions, airplanes are taxiing right next to each other, and it's wingtip to wingtip damage. In this case, you had one airplane that was kind of turning in front of the other airplane.
Delta Airlines says there was one minor injury to a flight attendant, but none of the 85 passengers involved were harmed. The airline pledging to work with all relevant authorities to review what occurred, as safety of our customers and people comes before all else. A full NTSB report could take a year or longer. And Tom, just based on the speed of the collision, aviation experts say it's very unlikely this could have turned catastrophic, with one expert saying a possible communication breakdown between ATC and the flight crew could be a focus. Tom?
Still a very scary accident. All right, Sam, we thank you for that. In New Jersey, 2 teenage girls have been killed after a vehicle ran them over. A teen suspect now arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. But here's the thing. The families say the attack was intentional. Erin McLaughlin has the story.
Tonight in Cranford, New Jersey, a community reeling.
They were some of the best people I've ever met.
After a 17-year-old boy was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the brutal hit-and-run killing of 2 teenage girls, best friends, identified by their families as Maria Neotis and Isabella Salas. According to the county prosecutor, the suspect, who has not been named because he's a minor, allegedly struck the girls with his black Jeep while they'd been out riding an e-bike Monday evening.
I came running out of the house and I heard people screaming and I immediately called 911.
One of them didn't make it at the scene. It was really hard to see.
According to eyewitnesses, the suspect drove off. He was charged 2 days later. 2 law enforcement sources told NBC News the incident may have stemmed from a possible breakup or argument. The girls' families released a scathing statement calling the suspect a coward of a man who'd been plotting this attack against Maria for months, adding he is not insane, he is competent and meditated.
It's not fair. It's not fair to the parents. It's not fair to the kids. Justice needs to be done.
Erin McLaughlin, NBC News.
And in Oklahoma today, the pastor who once led one of the biggest churches in the country pleaded guilty to charges he sexually abused a young girl in the 80s. His admission comes after an NBC News investigation helped bring the allegations of abuse to national attention. NBC's Priscilla Thompson has more, and a warning to our viewers. Some of the details you're about to hear are disturbing.
Thank you, Jesus, for
the man who once led one of the largest congregations in America. Today, walking into an Oklahoma courthouse, pleading guilty to sexually abusing an underage girl.
This has taken my entire lifetime to get here.
That girl was Cindy Clemishire, now 55. Inside the courtroom, delivering a message to her abuser through tears, as Gateway Church founder Robert Morris admitted to 5 felony counts of lewd or indecent acts with a child in the 80s.
People need to know who he is, that he came into our home as a pedophile, disguised as a preacher.
The abuse began on Christmas night in 1982, Cindy says, when she was 12 and Morris 21. It continued for years. A secret Cindy kept until 1987, when she told her parents and church leaders, and for the first time last year, shared publicly.
He started by touching my breast and putting his hands in my pants.
Decades passed. Morris grew into an evangelical powerhouse, even serving on President Trump's Spiritual Advisory Council, at times alluding to past transgressions in his sermons.
Sexual temptation is an appetite of the flesh, and I developed an appetite before I was saved.
His sins that NBC News reported on last year, now officially crimes. Morris handed a 10-year sentence, though he will only serve 6 months in a county jail as part of the negotiated plea deal. He will also have to register as a sex offender and pay $250,000 in restitution.
There is hope to come out of shame and to be whole again. And that's my hope for me, my hope for other victims, and even for Robert.
For this survivor, justice decades delayed, but tonight, no longer denied. Priscilla Thompson, NBC News.
When we continue the rough ride on this morning's commute, the bus totally bursting into flames on the highway. That's next. We're back now with a decision by the FDA made ahead of this week's government shutdown. Regulators approving a second generic version of mifepristone, one of two medications used in most abortions in the U.S. The pill is typically used with another one to induce abortions. The FDA's approval comes after Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said the FDA would look into the medication's safety. Also tonight, thousands of people across France, from workers to students, taking to the streets to demonstrate against government spending cuts and demanding higher taxes on the rich. Some of those protests turning chaotic, this one at a Tesla dealership, and some protests even shut down the Eiffel Tower today. Here at home, look at this, a New Jersey transit bus bursting into flames after blowing a tire on the New Jersey turnpike. It happened about an hour into the morning commute, so there were about 50 people on that bus, including the driver. They all got off. That fire causing major traffic delays, as you can imagine, but thankfully, everyone made it out safely. All right, that does it for us. That's Nightly News for this Thursday. I'm Tom Llamas. Thanks so much for watching. Tonight, and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.